Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Root Beer here, looking at question number 21. So we've made it to the C part where the questions are worth 8 marks if we get them correct. C part on the 2005 Pascal paper. Okay. So question 21. Integers m and n are each greater than 100. If m plus n is equal to 300, then the ratio m to n could be equal to, and then we have a bunch of possibilities here. Now, we know from the rules of the contest that there's only going to be one correct answer, so as long as we can find that in some way, we'll be all set. Okay? So, ratios. Well, what do ratios mean? So, a ratio of m to n, if that were equal to, so we've got a bunch of smaller ratios, so m is probably something like 200 and n is something like 100. So that would be a ratio of 2 to 1. Because we don't say 200 to 100, we simplify everything and go 2 to 1. You get it in smallest terms. So a ratio m to n is equal to another ratio if we can find a value k so that m is equal to ak and n is equal to bk. So, if the answer were 4 to 1, which is one of the ones I saw, it would mean that, so if m to n was 4 to 1, we'd be able to find m is 4 times k, and n is 1 times k. Okay. Now, what are we told? We know m plus n is 300. So, let's take this k out for a spin. So, 300 is m plus n. But then we get AK plus BK, we get A plus B times K. Okay, so if we knew the A and the B for the ratio, and we do because we have our list of possible ratios that M and N could be, then we could then divide by 300 divided by their sum, and we get the possible K. So how would this help us? Well, we have another restriction on m and n. They have to both be greater than 100. Well, how do I know what well, if we have the a and the b, and then we can solve for the k, we can work out what m and n would be. And we could make a little chart there. And I think that's a fantastic way to go about this question. You could probably shave a little bit of time not creating the chart. I notice that the second number is always the lower number. So, just as a little aside, if A is greater than B, which we know, then M is AK, which is greater than BK, which is equal to N. So M would have to be bigger than N. So if N is bigger than 100, M would have to be bigger than 100. Is it bigger than or equal to? Greater than 100, okay. So we would just need to show that BK is greater than 100. Not so bad. All right. So, our potential answers are A, B, C, D. I'll give myself a little more space. A, B, C, D, and E. D was 4 to 1. E, I think, was 3 to 2. So these are the smaller ratios. I think they're more likely, just because the smaller the sum A plus B, the bigger K will be, and thus the bigger M and N are likely to be. 5 to 3, 17 to 8. And I think the other one was 9 to 1. But I mean, that's good intuition, and if we wanted to, we could focus on D and E. So actually, let's do that. Let's do good practices. So here, the sum. So here's our A to B column. Here's our sum column. So we get 10, we get 25, we get 8, and both of these are 5. So 300 divided by that sum, we're going to get 30. Down here, we're going to get 60s. 300 divided by 8 doesn't go evenly. 300 divided by 4 is 75. Divided by 2, again, is 37.5. But these didn't have to be integers, right? Nope, they are. Integers, m and n. Okay. So we're not even going to get integers here, because 3 times something with a 0.5 is still going to have a 0.5. 300 divided by 25 is You had 12, because we'll need 4, and then you get 3. So a lot of these are going to be a little low. But, so our B value times our K value. So 1 times 30 is 30. 8 times 12 is 96. Not quite there. We don't care about this one because we're not getting integers. 1 times 60 is 60. And we do have 120 here. So the lower numbers did give the higher K. But this one here just wasn't enough. The 8, if it had been something like 9 to 16, B would have had it, which is actually kind of interesting. Okay. So our answer is E. N is 120, and M would be 3 times 60, so 180. Yeah, both of them are greater than 100. E is our answer. Fantastic. So that's question 21. Oops. Join me in the next video for question number 22.